unfold.
You know that little electric current flowing through your walls right now? Well, the story of how it got there is not what you think. Forget a simple invention. We're talking about a brutal, high-stakes war that literally shaped our modern world.
So how did our world get wired up? I mean, it's easy to think it was just invented, right? Some genius in a lab has a light bulb moment, pun intended, and boom, we have an electrical grid.
But that's not the real story. Not even close. It wasn't invented so much as it was fought over. This was an all-out corporate war with propaganda, crazy public stunts, and just raw genius, all battling to decide which kind of electricity would power everything. Okay, let's set the scene. Before this whole conflict kicked off, one guy was the undisputed king of electricity, Thomas Edison. His system, direct current, or DC, was the first one to ever light up a city, and he had built this incredible empire around it. I mean, he controlled everything. The power plants, the copper wires, even the light bulbs in your home. But Edison's kingdom had a major problem. A fatal flaw, really. See, his DC power just couldn't travel very far. It's kind of like water pressure in a really long garden hose. The farther it goes, the weaker the trickle at the end. With DC, a ton of energy was just lost as heat in those thick copper wires. And we're talking a severe limitation here. The maximum distance was only about a mile. So think about that. To power the whole country with DC, you'd literally need a power plant in every single neighborhood. It just wasn't practical. Electricity would have stayed a luxury item, only for the rich folks in the big cities. But there was a challenger on the horizon, a new disruptive technology called alternating current, or AC. And it had a couple of heavy hitters in its corner. A brilliant industrialist named George Westinghouse, who had this vision of a huge nationwide power grid, and of course, the one and only Nikola Tesla. And when you put them side by side, the difference is just night and day. AC could do something DC couldn't. You could generate power way out in the countryside, use a transformer to crank up the voltage really high for efficient travel, send it hundreds of miles, and then use another transformer to bring it back down to a safe level for your home. This was the absolute game changer. Now, AC had its own big hurdle. It was awesome for light bulbs, sure, but you couldn't run a motor on it, which was a huge deal for industry. That is, until Nikola Tesla came along. He was the one who cracked the code. He invented the AC induction motor. And suddenly, AC wasn't just for lights anymore. It could power the world's factories. And here's where it gets personal. Before all this, Tesla actually worked for Edison. He completely redesigned Edison's clunky generators, making them way more efficient. There was a promised bonus of $50,000 on the table, a fortune back then. But when Tesla asked for it, Edison just laughed and supposedly said, "Tesla, you don't understand our American humor." Ouch. Tesla quit on the spot, deeply insulted. And that little moment, it added a whole lot of fuel to the fire. So Edison looked at the situation. He knew he couldn't compete with AC on technology, and he probably couldn't compete on price either. So what do? You fight dirty. He launched what was basically one of the first and one of the nastiest corporate smear campaigns in history. His weapon of choice? Fear. His strategy was brutally simple. He decided to rebrand alternating current as the death current. He played on everyone's fear of this new, mysterious thing called electricity. He'd argue that the high voltage needed for AC made it an unpredictable killer. Fine for the electric chair, maybe, but you definitely didn't want it anywhere near your family. And this wasn't just talk. It got gruesome fast. Edison had a guy, Harold Brown, who started staging public spectacles where he'd electrocute stray dogs and other animals using AC power. It all led to this really dark climax. Edison's team made sure the world's first electric chair was powered by a Westinghouse generator they got their hands on secretly. The goal was to burn the name Westinghouse into the public mind right alongside the idea of death by electricity. I mean, can you believe how vicious this got? It hit a peak when Edison and his crew actually tried to get a new word into the dictionary. To Westinghouse, as in to be electrocuted. They were trying to make their competitor's actual name a synonym for a horrible death. It's just wow. All right, so things are looking pretty grim for AC. But the whole war is about to hit a major turning point. The place? The 1893 Chicago World's Fair. This was a massive event, and winning the contract to light the whole thing up, well, that was the ultimate PR showdown. DC versus AC, center stage. Edison's new company, which you might have heard of, General Electric, put in their bid. It was pretty high, but for George Westinghouse, this was about way more than profit. He came in with a bid so low, it was shocking, and he won. He was literally betting his entire company on this one single chance to show millions of people that AC was safe. And you know what? The gamble worked. Big time. Opening night, the President of the United States flips a switch, and in an instant, 100,000 light bulbs powered by AC lit up the entire fair. For the 27 million people who visited, this wasn't the death current. It was magic. It was beautiful. And most importantly, it was safe. In that one moment, Edison's entire fear campaign just fell apart.
So after that huge win in Chicago, there was really only one final prize left. The real crown jewel. It was a project so massive, so ambitious, it was almost mythical. The plan to harness the incredible power of Niagara Falls and use it to power cities far away.
And this was the one job that only AC could do. You just couldn't do it with DC. The winning system, designed by Westinghouse and Tesla, generated this unbelievable amount of power from the falls, stepped up the voltage, sent it 26 miles away to the city of Buffalo with barely any power loss, and then stepped it back down to be used safely. That project, that was it. The War of the Currents was officially over. AC had won. So, the world got its electrical grid. But for the three giants who fought this war, the story wasn't so simple. Winning and losing, well, it came at a huge personal price for every single one of them. Get this. At one point, during a terrible economic crash, Westinghouse was about to go bankrupt. A big reason was the massive royalty contract he had with Tesla for all those AC motor patents. This contract would have made Tesla one of the richest men on the planet. But Westinghouse went to him and laid it all out. The company was going under. And Tesla, forever grateful to the one man who truly believed in his vision, just tore up the contract. He walked away from a billion-dollar fortune to save the company and the future of AC. So when you look at how it all ended, it's complicated. Edison, he lost the war, but he's still remembered as this great American icon. Westinghouse, he won, but a few years later he was forced out of his own company by bankers. And Tesla, the visionary genius behind it all, that incredible sacrifice left him struggling financially for the rest of his life. He died alone and in debt. His vision powered the world, but it never made him rich. So in the end, the War of the Currents gave us the world we live in today, a world built on AC power. But it leaves us with this really big question, doesn't it? Genius can literally power the world, but who actually gets to profit from it? As this whole story shows, the answer is almost never the one you'd expect.